we are having our first listeners' stories.
Woo.
And actually, we have had some great submissions, really good stuff. A couple of them are my friends, so I'm going to have to give them a shout out. And but we've had some that are not our friends, so that's pretty. I mean,
they're my friends now.
I was going to say they're our friends now, but they are not people I have met in person. And actually, most of them said that they wanted to use their names. Well, actually, I'll start with my friend first, if you want.
Yeah. We don't need a disclaimer for this show.
We don't need a disclaimer. These are everybody's true stories, true to them as they know it.
About their interaction with the Ouija board.
Yes, and it is all Ouija board story. So Ouija or Ouija, we're going to stop on that one forever. Yes, so I'm going to start us off.
Tell us a story, Kathy.
Okay, well, this is a submission from my friend Jules. Jules and I went to University of Maine together, and she lived in my dorm. And so that means we have known each other for a short amount of time.
Just a few years.
A couple years. But I still think of her as a good friend. And her submission is titled Ouija Board Summer. All right. Are you guys ready? Ready for her truth? Oh, wait, I have thunder here. I wish that we could hear it because we have a full thunderstorm going here. So it's getting spooky over here. All right. What year do you think we're going to start in? Decade.
Well, if you were in college, did you say? That's kind of, well, she wouldn't be telling this story about that. I'm going to say 84.
Okay. Close. 81.
Oh, close.
All right, so Ouija board summer. During the summer of 1981, I spent most of my days running around my neighborhood with a group of kids from ages 9 to 12. Diane was the oldest and the de facto ringleader. Michael, Jenny, and I were in the middle, and Kelly was the youngest. In my mind, these events seemed to last the whole summer, but in reality, it may have only been 2 to 4 weeks. On the first day of Ouija board summer, we were playing in the garage. We were tossing batons and doing cheers or whatever 80s hit that was popular at the time when Diane came out of her house and down the stairs holding a Ouija board. It belonged to her much older sister and had been left behind when she moved out. None of us had any idea what it was, but Diane knew and schooled us in its uses and powers. We were hooked. Despite the accusations of people moving the planchette on their own, we spent the summer using the Ouija board, talking to various spirits. The spirit in the garage was named Best.
Best?
Best. And he was mean. One night, I arrived back to the garage to find everyone breathing a sigh of relief and Kelly explaining, Best said he was going to break your back, and we were really worried about you. Cue hysteria. It was the first time we considered what we were doing might not be a good idea, but it didn't stop us from talking to the Ouija board on walkabout in the yard, discovering new spirits. So I guess they were just roaming around finding spirits. Beth's wife's spirit spent her time in the front yard and reveled in telling us how terrible Best was. The side yard had a spirit that we referred to as the baby. I can't remember if it was a boy or girl, but it told us it was 3 years old and it was also afraid of Best. One day while we were summoning Baby, Michael got a strange look on his face and started talking to us in a creepy baby voice. He reiterated what Baby had told us through the board and added convincing details to the story. We were convinced he was a medium. We went to the side yard. Michael's voice changed into the mother, telling us about the spirit baby she had taken under her wing and her fears that Best would harm them both. And then finally back to the garage. Michael stood taller and held himself confidently and spoke in a deep, mean voice, convincing us he was Best. As an aside, Michael was not a strong kid. He was medium height and skinny as a rail and not particularly strong, and he wore Coke bottle glasses. Again, not deterred but eager to find out more about these spirits and Michael's medium skills, we continued to haul around this Ouija board day after day, marveling at Michael's newfound bridge into the spirit world. At some point, Michael started channeling these spirits whenever, even if the Ouija board was not involved. We'd be playing a board game and Bess would start communicating with us through Michael. We'd be playing TV tag. I forgot what TV tag is.
I don't know either.
Jules, you have to send in a story explaining TV tag.
I know what statue tag, but I don't know what TV tag is.
I remember the name, but I don't remember what it is. Anybody? Do you know? Jules, you have to come tell us. So they played TV tag, and out of Michael would come Beth's wife's voice, or we'd make GIMP bracelets. Jules, what were you doing? And the baby would show up. What convinced us that Michael was not faking was that when he was best, he would try to fight us, and he was strong. It would take 2 or 3 of us to push him off, whoever incurred his wrath. This happened multiple times, and in our minds, there was no way that Michael on his own could be that strong. It was at this point we thought just maybe we could tell someone, maybe we should tell somebody what was going on. It's worth noting that everyone in my little friend group except me was Catholic, and they were all afraid that instead of spirits talking through him, that he might be possessed.
Ooh.
We never told anybody, and we continued to play with the Ouija board and entertain the spirits through Michael until one day it abruptly stopped. I showed up at the garage one day to see my group of friends without the Ouija board and without Michael. Wondering what was going on, I asked, "Where's the board? And what are the spirits up to?" Only to be met by blank stares. "It was all fake," Diane said. Michael told me last night he faked everything. We were all dumbfounded. He had been lying. How had he done it? How had we all been fooled? Later that day, Michael confirmed that Diane was right, and it was all a big hoax. I remember being angry, and I remember that we talked about some of it behind Michael's back, but we never took the Ouija board out again. Thus, having underestimated Michael's strength and his acting abilities, the Ouija board summer ended. The end.
Oh, they were going around like Pokemon Go, checking in the front yard, checking in the backyard.
That's actually pretty smart to be moving around and see who you can get here, see who you can get there. We just were lazy and made the spirits come to us. Like, they were. So where is Michael now? Is Michael a famous actor? Is Michael a bodybuilder? What's going?
Michael is a medium.
Michael is actually a medium. It's true. It was not fake. I'm going with that. It wasn't fake.
Maybe he is one, but he's a charlatan. But he probably makes a lot of money right now.
But also, the spirits might have said he had to say he was faking.
That's right. They might have told him that just to protect them.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe Bess was threatening the other spirits. Something we don't know.
Maybe they were going to bring in a priest.
Maybe. I think there's more to this story. Jules, where's Michael? Get a hold of him.
We need more details.
We need Michael's side of this story. This is really good. Thank you very much. That's very interesting. So we're starting off with maybe the Ouija board does not work.
Maybe. We also need to know what TV tag is, and we need to do an episode sometime on games we used to play as kids. I got a couple.
TV tag. We used to play Laverne and Shirley. Yet again, bringing up Laverne and Shirley.
You got a thing about Laverne and Shirley.
Really did. I really did. All right. I really like that one. Good start. Good start. All right. What do you have for us, Vin?
I have a story. This person, her name is Laura, and she said it's fine if we use her name. She lives at 247 Oak Avenue. I made that part up.
I hope there's no spirits she's going to sick on us.
Okay, she said, oh, I'm like, why can't I see? Probably need glasses. All right, now I can see. She says, this happened in 1988 at a sleepover at my friend Jenny's house. There were 4 of us. Me, Jenny, our friend Melissa, and Jenny's cousin Brian, who we only invited because he had a car and could get snacks. That sounds like something someone would do with me. He also had a reputation for being a little bit over the top.
Not you.
Sounds a little bit more like me. Around midnight, Melissa pulled out a Ouija board she'd brought from home. We turned off the lights except for one lamp, and we did the full spooky setup. Brian immediately leaned into it, lowering his voice like he was hosting some kind of a seance. Like I said, he could be over the top. We all put our fingers on the planchette, trying not to laugh, although I think we were a little bit nervous. Is anyone here with us? Jenny asked. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly it moved to yes. Melissa freaked out. I looked at Jenny, and Jenny looked at Brian. Brian looked way too serious, but we kept going. What's your name? I asked. The planchette spelled out Robert. Melissa whispered, Robert, how did you die? This time it moved faster, and it spelled out the word accident. Brian asked, what kind of accident? The planchette answered, pool. Jenny's face changed. Like drowning, she said. The planchette moved to yes. This is like Scooby-Doo or something. At that point, the vibe shifted, and just enough to feel genuinely creepy, and no one was joking anymore. I started paying closer attention, and that's when I noticed it. Brian's fingers weren't just resting on the planchette, he had been pushing it.
What's up with these guys?
I know.
We can't trust y'all.
We can't. I leaned back and said, it's Brian. Everyone looked at me. He was moving it, I said. Watch his hands. Jenny squinted and Melissa leaned in. Brian froze for a second and then started laughing. Okay, fine, he said, holding his hands up. It was me. You guys are too easy. We threw pillows at him and Jenny groaned, but I actually felt kind of relief. Robert, I said, that's the best you can do? He shrugged and said he panicked, and we all started laughing. The tension was gone at that point. Nobody was scared anymore. All right, Jenny said, game over. And we stood up, and then the planchette moved on its own. Ooh, not a slow slide. A sharp, sudden jerk across the board. We all froze. Brian's hands were still in the air, and none of us were touching it. Slowly, it began to move again. It spelled out the word wait. Nobody was laughing this time. Melissa whispered, that's not funny. I'm not doing it, Brian said immediately, his voice sounding different now. The planchette kept spelling out words. It spelled out, still here. Jenny went pale and started whispering urgently, say goodbye right now, say goodbye. But no one moved. The lamp flickered. Ooh! From down the hall, we heard a sudden splash, loud and sharp like something heavy had hit the water. But there was no swimming pool at this house.
Uh-oh.
What was it? Oh, I lost my spot. Where'd I go? There was no okay. Goodbye, yelled Jenny. The planchette snapped to goodbye so hard it almost fell off the board. And then there was silence. We didn't finish the sleepover. Melissa called her mom, I went home, and Brian didn't say a word the rest of the night. And here's the part that stayed with me. Brian had been faking it. I knew exactly when he stopped because whatever moved the planchette at the end was not him. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, moving by itself. Okay.
That's kind of creepy.
All right. Has anybody seen the planchette move by itself?
I tried to make one move by itself. I'm told it to, but it wouldn't do anything.
Well, back in our Ouija board days, I don't remember it moving by itself. We definitely had to have our fingers on it. Yeah, I would have been a lot more frightened than they seemed. They handled it better than I would. I just would have run screaming from the room.
Well, it doesn't say what age they were. So that kind of has a lot to do with it because, kids don't understand sometimes that you should be very afraid.
But one thing was able to drive. Brian was able to drive, but maybe they were.
Yeah.
He was a cousin, so maybe he was an older.
Yeah, because it said that he was the one that could drive, so he was probably like.
And you said the person who told it was Laura?
Laura.
Yeah. Laura, you have some splaining to do.
Yeah. How old were you guys, Laura? And where were the parents? That's what I want to know. Some old guy hanging out with these young girls.
Yeah, I know that could be.
What? Maybe they were cousins.
Maybe they were all cousins.
We'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
That's the real scary part of this story.
Yeah. How old was Brian? That's the key right there.
Mm-mm. If I saw it moving, I would no. That I'd be done. I'd be done. I like that one. That was a good spooky one.
That was a good one. I like the way it was written too. That was good.
All right. I have another one from a friend.
Oh.
This is from Tony.
Oh.
Tony. Tony's hilarious. So I have high hopes for his Ouija board story. All right, let's just jump into it. He titled his email, "For your consideration, my own private witch board." All right, so here's how Tony starts out for us. "Hey, Hexers. Love the show. Recently got clued into it and have been catching up. I wanted to share a story with you all that falls squarely into Gen X satanic panic era. My twin brother, let's call him David, because that's his name, and I watched the low-budget horror film Witchboard, which, by the way, I have seen too, Tony.
I've not seen it.
Well, you are missing out, because it starred acting phenom and car hood model Tawny Kitaen.
I remember Tawny Kitaen. She was sprawled out on that car on that white snake. I remember.
Very nice. All right. So, she did star in that. I do remember. It inspired us to want to create our own real life witch board. For me, it was about contacting the dead, as I had spent several years prior getting hooked on the Mysteries of the Unknown books by Time Life. I remember those too, which featured stories of the paranormal. For my brother, he hoped that he could summon Tawny Kitaen, which was odd considering she was very much alive at this time. But the story still applies. We begged my parents for a Ouija board, and for some reason, they said yes. I'm assuming it's because they didn't love us as much as they loved our older sister. And we're hoping we would summon the Goblin King who would whisk us off away to the labyrinth and save them a fortune on cereal. My sister wanted us gone so that she would no longer have to fight us for the special spoon. A single spoon that didn't match any of the other silverware. By the way, that is such a valid thing to fight about.
I understand the spoons thing.
So, we went to KB Toys. Anybody remember that? In the mall.
Yep.
Only to be told that they didn't sell that kind of stuff. And they told us to go see the giraffe.
The what? The what?
The giraffe.
Oh, Toys R Us.
Off to Toys R Us we went. where we acquired the coveted mystical talking oracle, which was anointed with dark magics and dark magics to open portals to the other side, and was also distributed by Parker Brothers. We spent countless hours communicating with a spirit named Mary, who claimed that she and her family, mom, dad, and a brother, Tom Jr., had been murdered by a man named Jim Hoosier.
Sure.
Tony, that seems like something you could investigate. We we played all kinds of games to figure out if the spirit was real or fake. One time I went into the powder room, shut the door, and pretended to wash my face while my brother and sister asked Mary what I was doing. Mary replied, using the wash basin. We were all shocked at how on point that reply was. Tony.
Powder room, Tony? Really?
Wash basin? But that was Mary speaking, so we can't judge. We can judge powder room. Eventually, Mary introduced us to her brother, Tom Jr., who took over and eventually became the primary spirit that responded to us through the board. After several months of communicating with Tom Jr., the board started to become erratic. The planchette seemed to struggle to slide smoothly across the board. Replies came through as gibberish. One day, the board spelled out "help," and we were trying to talk to Tom Jr. Then the planchette moved around the board frantically. It came to rest on the board, but wouldn't move with ease. We couldn't manually push it without resistance. Okay, that's creepy.
Ooh.
The next few days, as we attempted to use the game, it refused to work. I don't know if it was David joking around and holding the planchette in place. It's just the kind of thing he would do when not shaking. Sorry. It's just the kind of thing he would do when not shaking down kindergartners for their money for the ice cream truck. David, we need to talk. At this point, we were convinced it was possessed, because why wouldn't it be? Our only frame of reference for anything related to the Ouija board was Witchboard. Now filled with terror that Jim Hoosier had possessed the board and killed Tom Jr.'s family and was killing Tom Jr.'s family all over again, we had only one option left. We clearly needed an exorcism. And having seen The Exorcist already, my parents really had zero interest in raising us. Tony, are you going to get your parents to watch this?
Poor Tony.
We knew we had to go to Father Charlie at the church we attended. Father Charlie was hot, by the way. And I was obsessed. I kind of love that, Tony. I threw myself at the one priest who had zero interest in kids. We are going down a very, isn't it Easter this weekend? Holy crap, Tony.
Perfect timing. Perfect.
Join us.
And what a conundrum. Doesn't even like kids.
Well, since it is Easter weekend, I'm going to repeat that. I threw myself at the one priest who had zero interest in kids, or he just wasn't interested in me. Either way, his loss.
You weren't his type.
Off to the church we went, toting our little devil board. The doors were locked, leading me to call bullshit on the whole sanctuary myth. But we knocked, and eventually a sister who served in the church administration answered the door. We presented our problem to her, and she nodded as we regaled her with the story of Tom Jr. and the murder of his family, and how the board was now possessed and by the spirit of the killer. Then she looked at us with a mix of sorrow and concern and said, "Get lost or I'll call the police." And with those words of faith and encouragement, And with those words of faith and encouragement, we turned and headed home. I'm not sure what became of the board. I do recall we told our parents what happened. They kept the board overnight, and the next day it was back to normal. I asked my mom what they did to fix it, and she said, "We spoke with Jim and told him just to stop." After that debacle, we figured our days of communicating with the dead were over. I still think about Tom Jr. and hope his spirit and the spirits of his murder family are finally at peace. Tony, that was an amazingly awesome story.
That was great, Tony.
That was so good. And you're not going to get us in a lick of trouble with people. I love it. I love it.
If I had known, I could have wore my collar and everything. I've got the whole.
You missed. Yeah, that's true. We missed it. You missed it, Tony.
Father Vinny could have
been here. Oh my gosh. I love that one. So, Tony, did you ever investigate Jim Hoosier?
Yeah, you got a name.
You have a name. You could be solving a cold case file right now.
Oh, I just realized. Hoosier, take me to church. What, Tony? What did you just do? You know, the band Hoosier, the song Take Me to Church.
Not spelled the same, though. His is Hoosier, but Tony, are you just being slick? You're being slick. You're still trying to impress that priest, aren't you?
That's what I was going to say. He's just still wondering what happened to the priest.
Okay, I love that story. I don't know. It's going to be hard to top that story, I think.
I don't know. Maybe Denise can.
All right, Denise, we're counting on you.
Forgot I can't see. I always get surprised when I can't.
Denise wanted their name mentioned, so she couldn't see.
I can't see, Denise. She did say I could mention her name. That's okay. Okay, Denise. So this happened in 1986. I'm still not sure if we contacted the spirit or just accidentally summoned the most sarcastic entity imaginable. It was me, my best friend Carla, and her older sister Michelle.
You have a theme of these groups of people.
Do what?
It has this theme of all these groups of...
I know, they all got little...
cohorts.
Michelle had just gotten a Ouija board and acted like she was basically a licensed professional now. She made us wash our hands first to clear the energy. She said, which should have been my first warning. We set up in their dining room because Michelle said spirits preferred open spaces, which sounds made up also.
Sounds kind of made up.
We all put our fingers lightly on the planchette. At first, nothing happened. We asked if anyone was there, and we got no response. And Carla started giggling. Michelle kept shushing us like we were going to offend the ghost. And then the planchette moved just a little, but enough to make us all go silent. It slid to yes. Michelle got this look on her face like, I told you so. And Carla whispered, ask it something. So I said, what's your name? The planchette moved slowly, kind of dragging like it was tired, and it spelled out the word Dave.
Wait, so we've had Tom Jr., Robert, and Dave.
Dave. These are like the most boring spirit
names.
We all just stared at it. Dave, Carla said, that's normal. Michelle shot her a look. Don't be rude. I tried again. Okay, Dave, how old are you? The planchette paused, and then it moved very fast, and it spelled out 1,000. Carla snorted. Oh, come on. Michelle snapped. Stop laughing. I said, Dave, are you really 1,000 years old? The planchette slid immediately to no.
All right, Dave seems honest.
Then, without us asking anything else, it moved and spelled out the number 12. Even Michelle cracked a smile. Okay, I said, so Dave is 12? The planchette moved to yes. Carla leaned in. Dave, are you a ghost? There was a pause. Then it slid to no. Michelle frowned. Then what are you? The planchette moved quicker now, almost impatient, and it spelled out the word bored. We all started laughing. Same, Dave, said Carla. Same. At this point, it honestly felt like we were talking to some invisible kid who had nothing better to do. So we kept going. Dave, do you live here? I asked. Yes, it said. Michelle immediately looked nervous. Okay, that's not funny, she said. Carla grinned. Dave, do you like Michelle? The planchette moved so fast it almost flew off the board and it went directly to no. Michelle seemed to have been personally offended. Why not, Dave? She demanded. The planchette paused and then spelled out the word annoying.
Oh my gosh. He doesn't hold back.
Carla fell on the floor laughing. I couldn't breathe, and Michelle was like, very funny, you guys, even though none of us were doing it. And then things got a little weird. The lights flickered once, just once. We all stopped laughing. Okay, Michelle said seriously. Dave, are you making the lights flicker? The planchette slowly slid to yes. Carla whispered, do it again. There was a pause, and then from the kitchen we heard a very loud clatter like something fell off the counter. And all three of us screamed. Michelle yelled, goodbye, Dave, immediately. The planchette slid straight to goodbye like it had been waiting for us. We ran into the kitchen expecting total chaos, but there was nothing out of place. Nothing had fallen. To this day, I have no idea what made that noise, and here's the part that makes me question everything. Years later, Carla mentioned, completely casually, that when she was a kid, before I knew her, she used to have an imaginary friend. And guess what his name was? Dave. And according to her, he was also 12, and he was kind of a jerk.
What? Why would you have an imaginary friend who's a jerk?
What is that? What was that movie? Drop Dead Fred.
Oh, that's true.
Drop Dead Fred was the biggest jerk ever.
True. Well, apparently Dave was a jerk. But so was she actually see? I wonder. So I guess she was seeing a ghost. It wasn't really just an imaginary friend.
Yeah, or she could have like created it like a tulpa. You know, once you start believing something long enough, it starts getting its own consciousness and stuff. Maybe she created a tulpa.
Well, and wait, to go back to Tony's brother Dave, maybe you could have created Tawny Katan.
Maybe, or at least a version of her. Like Weird Science or something. I'm sure that's what he had in mind at that time.
Tony, get Dave on here and let him hear this. Don't give up, Dave. Don't give up. Actually, she's passed away now, so. She
has, but there's still AI and there's robots, and they can do a lot now with skin-like material. So
I was trying to get him to conjure the real deal, and you just want the fake.
The fake one. Then he can program it any way he wants, and then it's all good.
What if it goes haywire on the hood of your car? That's no good. Okay, we're off track.
You might like that. You don't know. You don't know what his brother is like. Neither do I. Actually, you might.
I don't. I have never met Dave.
Oh, okay.
Wait, was it Dave or David? Now I'm confused. It was David.
David.
Okay.
Well, maybe Dave was just short for David.
Maybe.
Ooh, does anyone name their kid just Dave?
That's a good question. We should probably consult the Ouija board.
You have one. You could ask it. Is anyone's name just on your birth certificate Dave?
I forgot to show you all this. Even my... Can you see it? No.
No.
Now can you see it?
No.
Darn.
I see a reflection of me. That's weird.
Is that spooky?
That's spooky. Friend of yours?
Board. It's my actual screen on my Fitbit is a Ouija board. The unfortunate part is when you tap it, the planchette works, but it just spells "get moving" over it. Very disappointing.
That's because I know what spirit you summoned on your little thing. It's Richard Simmons.
Love Richard Simmons. He can tell me to get moving anytime.
He was awesome. He was awesome.
He was awesome. I have a Richard Simmons story too, but I'll save that for.
We got so many stories.
I was gonna say, and we still. I have one more story.
I do too. So go right ahead.
All right.
What you got next?
Well, this one's pretty spooky.
Oh,
I did sneak a little peek at this one. And this is our first person who actually does not want their name used. Thank goodness they started right off with that because we're not doing very well.
Yeah, I'll just give your address out.
All right, here we go. Hi, you can call me A. I would rather not have my name used just in case something from the other side is listening. I've gone back and forth about sending this in because I still don't know what I believe, but it's one of those things that never really left me. This happened in the 80s. All a theme here. The 80s were definitely a satanic time. I was 15. We got another theme here. At a sleepover with my friend, at a sleepover at my friend Erica's house, also a made-up name. There were three of us, me, Erica, and my neighbor, Julie. Not
also made up.
All right. Erica had a Ouija board she said she had used before. She acted very calm about it, but Julie was definitely nervous. I was kind of in the middle, not scared, but not comfortable either. We sat on her bedroom floor with the lights off and just a candle lit. At first, it was exactly what you'd expect. We asked if anyone was there, nothing. We asked again, nothing. Then, after a few minutes, the planchette moved, just slightly. Then it moved again, and it slid to yes. Julie immediately said, nope, I don't like that. She didn't take her hands off the planchette. Erica said, what's your name? Everybody always goes for the name. The planchette moved slowly. Z-O. It paused. Then again, Z-O.
Oh no!
I think we learned about this one.
Not the Zozo.
This is not going to go well. Julie actually laughed a little. Okay, that's weird. Erica frowned. Are you spelling Zozo? The planchette quickly moved to yes. I remember getting this sort of drop in my stomach feeling. I didn't know what Zozo was, but by the way Erica reacted, I knew it was important. Who are you? She asked. The planchette moved faster now. Not smooth like before, but in this jittery, almost aggressive fashion. Z-O, 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 over and over. Julie said, stop it. Ask something else. I tried, how old are you? The planchette flew across the board. Z-O, Z-O, no numbers, just that. Erica's voice changed. We should say goodbye. But before she could, the planchette started sliding toward the numbers on its own, and it went to 0. Then it went to 0 again, and then 0 again. It just kept hitting 0 over and faster each time. Julie whispered, why does it keep going to 0? No one answered. Then it moved again. Z-O, Z-O, faster and harder. The flame on the candle began to really flicker. I remember this clearly. I didn't notice it before, but Erica's bedroom window was open just a crack. The curtains started moving, but not like in a breeze, more like they were being pulled inward. Julie started crying. Say goodbye, say goodbye. Erica tried. Goodbye. Nothing happened. The planchette kept going. Z-O, Z-O, Z-O. I pulled my hands away, and so did Julie. Erica tried to stop, but it was almost like she couldn't. Her hands were being held onto the planchette, but after a few terrifying seconds, she yanked her hands back like they had been burnt. The planchette stopped. I swear all of this is true, and that's the part I still can't explain. The planchette stopped on goodbye. The room felt almost normal again, just like that. No flickering lights, no moving curtains, nothing. Julie and I didn't touch the board again. Erica wrapped it up and put it in her closet. Here's the thing that makes me unsure, though. No one there admitted to moving it, but I know how people are. It could have been subconscious or something. It could have been one of us not realizing we were pushing it. I told myself that for years, but I also know how scared Erica looked when she couldn't seem to take her hands away. I know how it felt in that room, and when it kept repeating that name. I didn't know anything about Zozo back then, not until much later. Maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe it was our imagination. Even now, though, if I see a Ouija board, I don't touch it, just in case.
Zozo, not Zozo.
Hey, we knew from.
That's the big dog. That's Satan's mother.
I have to say, though, given some of the other ones we've heard, Zozo was not doing all that much. I mean, he seems to just like to spell his name over and over and over. I mean, the curtain
didn't possess them or anything.
The curtains, well, and I guess if it was holding her hands on Erica's hands on there, that's pretty scary. And the curtains, I guess, are scary, but he went away pretty quickly. I feel like he could have done a lot more.
He didn't quite get in there. Maybe they needed to ask more questions. Like, can you possess me?
Yeah, that probably would work.
That would have worked.
that probably would have been okay. Well, next time, folks. Next time, but it's scary. We got a Zozo. We actually got a Zozo story. I'm so excited.
I hope if you guys have any stories, you'll send us some too. And give us all these kind of details. These are really good. We like to know how it felt, where you were, what kind of friends you had around you, what you were doing, how old you were, that kind of stuff. Did you have all the lights off except a candle, or shouldn't be playing with candles anyways, children.
All right. We have one. Do we have one more?
We have one more.
All right.
This is from Karen, and she said we can use her name because everyone loves Karens.
Karen, you're brave.
I'm sure she's not that kind of a Karen.
Karen, I'm sorry. We're happy you're here. We're happy you're sharing.
So this happened in the early 80s, 1983, I think. I've gone back and forth my whole life about whether there's a logical explanation, and I still don't have one. It wasn't a group thing like most stories. It was just me and my older brother, Sean. No sleepovers this time. Our parents were out for the evening, and we were bored, digging through a hall closet, looking for something to do. That's when we found the Ouija board. Neither of us knew we had one. It looked old, not vintage old, like cool, just used like it had been handled a lot. Sean thought it would be funny to try it, but I was nervous. Finally, I agreed, and we set it up on the living room floor with the TV on in the background, with something like Three's Company on, I think, just to make it feel less creepy. It is hard to be creepy when you've got Three's Company.
I mean, Larry was a little creepy, but...
Larry was creepy. He was hairy, too. Anyways. At first, nothing happened. We asked if anyone was there, if they could hear us. All the usual stuff. Sean kept making jokes, trying to get a reaction. And then the planchette finally moved. Slow and smooth, it went to yes. We both froze, and I immediately said, "You're pushing it." He swore he wasn't, and I believed him because his hands were shaking a little bit. We asked its name, of course, and it spelled out the name Lucas. At least that's a little different. It's not Dave. Sean laughed a little bit quieter. Okay, Lucas, how old are you? The planchette moved again. That's when I started to feel a little off. It never really told us its age. I wasn't scared, really. Everything just felt kind of heavy, like the room had gotten smaller. So I asked, where are you? The planchette hesitated, and then it spelled out the word closet. We both turned and looked at the hallway. The closet door, the one we had just taken the board from, was closed. Sean stood up immediately. Nope, we're done, he said.
Sean's smart.
Sean's out of there. But before he could move, the planchette started sliding again. What? Neither one of us was asking a question.
Wait, are they touching it?
She's still touching it.
Okay.
He had stood up, but I don't know if he lifted his hands off of it or not. It spelled the word open. My stomach dropped. Say goodbye, I whispered. Sean sat back down, put his hands on it with me, and said goodbye. Nothing happened. Goodbye, he yelled louder. The planchette didn't move. And then from the hallway, we heard it. A tapping sound. Ooh, like something was inside the closet door. Then another tap. Then a slow creak. And the door opened just a few inches on its own. Ooh. I started to cry. Sean grabbed my arm and we both yelled goodbye at the same time. The planchette had moved to goodbye when we jumped up, and then the closet door slammed shut hard.
Uh-oh.
We didn't go near that thing again. Sean shoved it under the couch, and we stayed in the kitchen until our parents got home. Here's the part that still gets me. A few years later, my mom mentioned completely out of nowhere that the people who had lived in the house before us had a little boy. His name was Lucas, and that he had died young. I asked her what had happened. She said she didn't know for sure, but it was somewhere in the house, some kind of a freak accident. I never told her what happened. I still don't like closets.
Fair.
Dun, dun, dun.
I like that several of these stories have had the whole okay, I rationalized it, but this is still staying with me. They still think about it.
Plus, you have to wonder, because a lot of these people were kids, they might have been 10, 12, they might have been teenagers. So you have to wonder how much was memory and how much was just fear-based imagination. Because that becomes real memory. And then you don't really remember exactly what happened, but the fear makes you believe, something could have fallen. Like maybe the closet door wasn't completely shut. Maybe a board game had fallen because they yanked the old game out of there and it might have been off balance. It could have fallen and knocked the door open.
True.
So you just don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe they didn't really spell Lucas. Maybe it was Luke or something like that. Still odd.
I mean, the one that was it yours? Was it the one moving by itself? Yeah, yours.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that I'm like, I'm curious about that because, like I said, that never happened to us. That it never just moved.
You don't know what happens with asbestos.
I'm certain hallucinations can happen. It might have been the lead paint on the walls. It's hard to say.
They might have had sweaty hands where they were, how kids are. They're not going to sit there and hold it perfectly. You know how kids, manhandle everything. So maybe they spilled the drink on it. You just don't know with kids.
Yeah, so I mean, these are great stories though, and really, really well written. I'm really impressed. I think that this is a lot of fun. I can't wait for more stories, and I know you got more out there. So
Yeah, we need details, guys. We need details. Don't just say, I saw a creepy clown step out of the forest. We need to know
How you felt?
what time of year was it? Where were you? What was going on during that time period in the world? You know, what happened after that? Did you go look for the clown? Probably not. Details. We need details.
Yeah. Yeah, we want the dirt. We want the dirt. Well, I really like that. So I'm not even going to pick a favorite because
I don't know. The one about the priest was pretty funny.
I think Tony, I think the hot priest might win it. I'm sorry for those who are celebrating Easter and thinking this isn't might be a little inappropriate, but that's okay.
We are inappropriate.
Well, and Jesus forgives. So
we're Gen X. We're inappropriate.
We're inappropriate for sure. Yeah, so that was really good. So you know what? Now you know. Now you know you could get your story on the air. I'm hoping we can do this, every couple weeks or, at least once a month anyway. That would be nice. We actually haven't discussed our next podcast, but I was thinking we would go into, and I'm drawing a blank because I'm old.
Because you're old.
Created, this isn't the right term. Maybe you'll get it from this. Created memories. So the whole people who believe they were in satanic cults because they were sort of invented memories. And we're going to talk, I would like to talk specifically about the book Michelle Remembers, which we're not going to talk in great detail. Although I will tell you, I went to see if we can find Michelle Remembers for our book club because I do think it would be a fascinating read. Apparently it is not in print anymore. So if we can put people on the task of trying to figure out where we could find Michelle Remembers. I checked Audible. I checked, I have Ever After, Ever End. I can't remember.
Who's the author?
Michelle something. and her psychiatrist who ended up being her husband, which I'm pretty sure is
sus.
It's definitely not proper etiquette, I don't think, to marry your psychiatrist. But that was one that was taken very seriously. People believed it. Absolutely did the talk show tours, the news, and turned out maybe that wasn't actually true.
I bet I can find it as a PDF or something. If I can find it, I can find a way to share it with everybody.
Yeah,
if they want to read
that would be a really interesting book club one to talk about. But there were more because it turns out Sybil was not.
I remember reading that.
True story. It was invented. I guess it's invented memories. So anyway, we're going to talk about that, which will lead us into maybe a deep dive, which a lot of podcasts have done this, so I know, but I'm sure we'll have a different take on it than other podcasts. But the McMartin daycare.
Yes.
So I think if we go into invented memories, somebody help me with the correct term for that. I'm only coming up with invented memories, but
I can't think of what it's called, but I know there was it was almost like an epidemic. Supposedly go back in time as a child, and then they would basically give them leading memories and just convince them that their parents had been abusive or were in a satanic cult and that all these horrible things, and there was evidence that was not true. So it's like, but it was a really time when it was really like an epidemic. It was just like everybody's shrink was telling them, you were abused by a satanic cult and your parents were part of it.
Right. So so we're going to talk about some of the books next week, and then I would like to go into a deep dive because the daycare thing is wild and there's a lot to it. And
that was crazy.
Actually destroyed a lot of innocent people's lives, so that's not so fun. It's not nearly as fun as trying to conjure Tawny Katan.
Or Zozo.
Yeah, I mean, Zozo, we're supposed to... I just think Zozo seems like he has like Tourette's or something. Why are we just rating Zio, Zio, Zio? All right. Well, on that note, subscribe,
Like, follow, comment, subscribe.
do it all, and we need those subscribers so we can take it bigger.
Do it.
On my on those who know my Facebook, you can put in Kathy Love, also an author. So it's actually primarily an author Facebook at this point, but we'll play up some podcasts more. I do have a link tree which will take you right to our Substack. So you don't even have to hunt for it. You can go right there, look up Substack, and get on there because, like I said, we're going to start a book club. We're going to start doing some lives over there. We just need a few more followers since we only have 8. And you eight wonderful subscribers. But if we want to have a rousing conversation about satanic cults and false memories. Maybe it was just false memories.
Maybe.
All right. Well, anyway.
We are going to do some lives on Substack. So you guys need to follow us on Substack because we're not going to do it on YouTube because there's too many trolls. We don't want to have to deal with stuff like that. So we're only going to go live for people that we actually know are going to participate and act like normal human beings. So you're going to have to follow us on Substack if you want to interact with us live. So, yeah. And follow Kathy's Facebook. You guys are all on Facebook. So just type in Kathy Love. Go to her page. It's orange. She's got like an orange. I don't know why. Nobody likes orange, Kathy.
Here's the book cover.
Oh, yes, the book cover. Follow Kathy on Facebook. And then she's got that one link. Just click on the link and it'll show you all her pages and stuff. And you can see where it says Substack.
And follow Kathy despite her bad taste in colors.
Even though her colors are horrendous.
But on that note, thank you for all of those great Ouija board stories. Thank you. Great writing. Very impressive. Very happy with this. So, and I'm sure you are too. So you're going to subscribe.
That's right. It's free, you guys. You just click that little subscribe button. It's totally free. You don't have to do anything. You just have to have a YouTube channel, or a YouTube account, which is also free. And just click subscribe. And that way, every time we post a new thing, you'll see it.
Exactly.
And if you click the little bell, it'll give you a notification and let you know that we just made a new video.
Yeah. And we know you want to see it. So, all right. Well, thanks, everyone. Just keep those stories coming about anything you can think of weird. We'll take it. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Okay, wait a minute. We gotta do this officially. Hold on. Let's see.